Every morning you wake up is a brand new opportunity to shape your day. It's a fresh beginning to intentionally design the experience you want to have. Yet so often we find ourselves allowing outside circumstances to control our state of being. We let traffic, the weather, other people's moods, or a series of seemingly insignificant events throw us off balance. But what if I told you that you have the ability to reclaim your power? What if you could train yourself to behave as though nothing bothers you, regardless of what life throws your way? Sounds unrealistic, right? Let me break it down. You've probably heard the old saying, don't sweat the small stuff. But from the mind's point of view, there is no small or big stuff. It's all just data, input, and you get to choose how you interpret and respond to that data. Let's imagine you're driving to work and someone abruptly cuts you off in traffic. Immediately, you feel a surge of frustration. Your heart rate spikes, you might blurt out a few choice words, and suddenly your mood sours, not just for the commute, but potentially for the rest of your morning. But here's the critical insight. In that moment, when the person cut you off, nothing actually happened to you. No accident occurred. No harm came to you. It was just a moment, perceived by your mind as a slight or a threat. Now, I'm not suggesting that reckless driving is acceptable or that we should condone inconsiderate behavior. What I am suggesting is that you have the power to choose your reaction. You can allow a fleeting event to ruin your whole day, or you can train yourself to act as if it didn't bother you at all. You see, when we encounter something unpleasant or annoying, our bodies respond chemically. We're wired for fight or flight. Emotions surge and logic takes a back seat. But what if you could pause, interrupt that automatic response, and take back control? What if, in the exact moment that emotional energy begins to rise, you made a conscious choice to override it? It's not easy, especially at first, but with time and repetition, you can condition your mind and body to stay calm and centered in almost any situation. Acting as if nothing can rattle you is about cultivating what I call the ultimate life force traits. It's about stepping into your personal power and remembering that you are the architect of your experience, not a passive participant shaped by external forces. One of these traits is imperturbability. It's the ability to stay steady, composed, and centered, regardless of what's going on around you. It's the polar opposite of being easily thrown off or emotionally hijacked. It means you trust your own resilience and refuse to be derailed by everyday bumps in the road. Another key trait is unflappability. To be unflappable is to move through life with grace and composure, even when everything around you feels chaotic. When you're unflappable, you don't allow the external environment to dictate your internal peace. You might be thinking, this all sounds good on paper, but how do I actually start living this way? It begins with heightened awareness. You must develop a sharp awareness of your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations. When you notice the early signs of annoyance or irritation, whether it's tightness in your chest, heat rising in your face, or a particular train of thought, pause. Recognize it as just that, a signal, not a command. At that moment, you get to make a choice. You can feed the feeling, let it spiral, or you can hit the brakes. Take a deep breath, ground yourself, remind yourself, I'm not going to let this bother me. I am in control of my inner state. You are pressing the mental reset button, recentering yourself consciously. It's about returning to a state of balance no matter what. When you start behaving as if nothing gets to you, you begin to feel empowered in a whole new way. Life feels lighter. Situations that once triggered you don't even register. You realize that much of what you once considered stressful is actually insignificant in the bigger picture. You stop sweating the small stuff. Here's the most exciting part. When you begin to live with imperturbability and unflappability, your external reality starts to shift. The very circumstances and people that once pushed your buttons seem to change, or at least their impact on you weakens. It's as if you've tuned into a different frequency, one of deep peace and inner strength. So how do you begin this shift? By making it a practice, every day, many times a day. Catch yourself in the moments where emotional reactions start to form. Maybe someone says something off-putting. Maybe you drop your keys. Maybe your plans change unexpectedly. Whatever it is, pause. Observe your reaction. Don't judge it. Just witness it. Then breathe deeply and say to yourself, I'm not going to let this bother me. I choose how I feel. Let that phrase become your personal mantra. Say it out loud if it helps. Anchor yourself with it. At first, it may feel unnatural. That's okay. Repetition is the mother of transformation. The more you practice, the more familiar it becomes, and eventually, it starts to feel second nature. As you develop these ultimate life force traits, your reality begins to transform in ways you may not expect. The stress and anxiety that used to linger simply dissolve. You find yourself more adaptable, more resilient. Challenges still appear, they always will. But your relationship to them changes. They no longer have the power to knock you down or out of alignment. Of course, the path isn't always smooth. There will be setbacks, and that's part of the process. But each time you stay composed in the face of adversity, you strengthen your inner core. You're reinforcing new patterns, new habits, new neural pathways. Because yes, this change is neurological too. When you consciously choose a new response instead of reacting on autopilot, you begin to rewire your brain. Those old circuits that used to fire up irritation, impatience, or anger, they start to quiet down. New pathways form, ones aligned with calm, clarity, and confidence. Another crucial step on this journey is learning to detach from the mental narratives we build around experiences. Our minds are incredible storytellers, constantly interpreting events and assigning meaning, often meaning that fuels emotional turmoil. But those stories, they're just interpretations. They're not facts. The moment you can witness your mental story without believing it, you take away its power. Let's return to the traffic example. Your mind may immediately begin a cascade of thoughts. That driver is such a jerk. Now I'm going to be late. Why can't people be more considerate? And so on. Each thought feeds the flame. But if you strip it down to the raw event, someone merged into my lane, you de-escalate it. It becomes just a thing that happened, not a personal offense. From this place of neutrality, it becomes much easier to maintain your center. You're not adding fuel to the emotional fire. You're just observing reality as it is, without the overlay of judgment and narrative. Even more empowering is to reframe negative or frustrating situations as opportunities. Every challenge becomes a chance to practice your imperturbability and unflappability. It's like spiritual strength training. Instead of groaning at a setback, you smile inwardly and think, here's my opportunity to get stronger. This simple mindset shift changes everything. Instead of avoiding discomfort, you begin to welcome it as a path to mastery. And each time you remain steady, you reinforce your ability to choose peace over reactivity. You're training your system mentally. With repetition, this new way of being becomes embedded. The old reactive circuits fade, the new ones strengthen. You're literally sculpting your brain to operate from a place of equanimity and personal power. You're not dependent on the world behaving a certain way to feel okay. You feel okay regardless of the world. That's real freedom. And when you embody this way of being, others notice. Your calm, grounded presence becomes magnetic. You become a source of steadiness for those around you. In a world that often feels frantic and reactive, your peace is a powerful kind of leadership. So continue to practice. Catch those small moments, spilled coffee, missed appointments, rude comments, and use them as training grounds. Breathe, pause, reframe, choose your response, say your mantra, and each time you do, you step further into your power. With consistent practice, this way of being becomes who you are. Not someone faking calm, but someone who is calm. Not someone pretending not to care, but someone who truly understands that peace doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from mastering your response to it. And when you truly act as if nothing can bother you, not out of suppression or denial, but from a place of conscious presence, you unlock a level of inner peace and personal freedom that is transformative. This is the power of living from your ultimate life force. It takes consistent dedication, but just imagine how liberating it would feel to no longer be at the mercy of your automatic emotional reactions, to be able to move through life's inevitable ups and downs with grace, composure, and an inner stillness that's genuinely unshakable. That's the essence of acting as if nothing truly gets to you. And as you begin to embody this way of living more fully, it will start to ripple into every corner of your existence, not just how you respond to what's going on around you, but also how you interact with your own internal storms of thought and emotion. You'll discover it becomes easier to release, to forgive, to let go of old resentments and grudges. Everything begins to feel more fluid, more spacious and light. Ultimately, learning to act as if nothing disturbs you is about embracing radical ownership over your inner state. It's about realizing you're not a passive bystander in life, but the architect of your inner reality, shaping it through the frequency and energy you carry into each moment. When you start interacting with the world from a grounded, calm space, that energy reflects back to you. The people and circumstances that once triggered you will slowly dissolve from your field, because you're no longer resonating with the frequency that used to attract them. You've elevated to a higher state of awareness, one that no longer feeds into the repetitive loops of emotional chaos. So I invite you to throw yourself into this practice wholeheartedly. Approach it with commitment, curiosity, and even a sense of lightheartedness. Begin to see everything that happens as a unique chance to develop and stretch your inner strength. Keep reaffirming to yourself, I alone choose how I respond in each moment. The road won't always be smooth, but make no mistake, every step forward brings you closer to a life rich in inner peace, resilience, and true empowerment. Now is the time. This very moment marks the beginning of your shift toward becoming someone who cannot be easily rattled. One of the foundational ideas to embrace is this: nothing that happens to you is inherently good or bad. Those labels are purely interpretations formed through layers of conditioning. Events are, at their core, neutral. Think of a child-proof cap on a bottle. To a toddler, it's a maddening obstacle, but to a parent, that same cap is a life-saving safeguard. One object, two completely different interpretations, all based on perspective and programming. When we begin to view life this way, we start to see that most things really don't need to bother us, because they only hold the meaning we assign to them. This doesn't mean we become emotionally detached robots. Emotions are part of the human journey. But we can change how we relate to them, from identifying with every wave of feeling to simply witnessing them as they arise and dissolve. When discomfort or frustration surfaces, don't resist or cling to it. Instead, meet it with awareness. Notice the physical sensations, tightness. Don't feed the emotion with the stories the mind wants to attach. Instead, allow it to pass through you like a breeze. By observing emotions in this way, they lose their grip. They no longer control your narrative. You create space for calm to rise naturally. This spaciousness is what allows you to remain unshaken when the unexpected strikes. It's what lets you truly act as if nothing external has the power to disturb your peace. The most crucial realization is this: nothing outside of you can actually disturb you unless you permit it to. Triggers have power only because we've trained ourselves to react over time. But now, in this moment, you can decide to take that power back. The control has always resided within you, not in anyone else, not in the outside world. As you stay committed to this internal work, you'll begin to notice two significant shifts. First, the number of things that annoy or upset you each day will start to shrink. Events that used to push your buttons will barely cause a ripple. Second, when you do get thrown off, you'll recover far faster. That emotional spike won't spread like wildfire into the rest of your day. You'll return to balance with grace. And perhaps most powerfully, you'll find yourself preserving vast amounts of mental and emotional energy. That precious life force that was once drained by drama, reactivity, and stress is now available to you in its full strength. You can direct it toward creativity, passion, presence, and meaningful action. Just think of the transformation that becomes possible when you stop leaking your energy into every passing annoyance. Your relationships will shift as you show up with stability and calm. You'll make clearer decisions, free from the tug-of-war of emotional impulsivity. In many ancient teachings, the highest goal was to reach a state of true equanimity, to remain calm and unwavering no matter the external conditions, be it praise or blame, wealth or loss, pain or joy. The masters remained centered. They understood that true power lies in remaining rooted in presence. From this state, you're not merely reacting to life, you're consciously shaping it. You're no longer a victim of circumstances, but a creator who dances through the chaos with clarity and heart. Of course, reaching such mastery is not a one-time leap. It's a path that unfolds through continuous devotion. But the beauty is, we can begin right now, just by choosing in this very breath to act as if nothing has the power to unseat your inner stillness. With that choice, every obstacle becomes training. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone toward deeper mastery. Over time, this imperturbable nature won't just be something you strive for, it'll be your natural default setting. You'll navigate life from a rooted place of poise and balance. And from that foundation, your choices, your actions, and even your silence will carry profound weight. So continue, practice often, remind yourself daily, I am the calm in the center of the storm. Acknowledge the winds, however small, and extend compassion to yourself during the harder days. But whatever you do, don't stop walking this path, because by choosing to master your internal response, you're doing more than just cultivating calm, you're answering the deepest call of the soul, to live as a sovereign being in full command of your own energy and presence. This is the most sacred work any of us can undertake. At the core of it all is one vital realization. We are not our thoughts. We are not even our emotions. We are not the things that happen to us. We are the conscious awareness behind them, the silent observer who watches without judgment. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Situations unfold and then pass away. But that witnessing presence within you, it remains unchanged. When you begin to stabilize your awareness in this deeper truth, the whole world starts to shift. The irritations, the conflicts, the disappointments, they lose their edge because you know they're not you. They're just temporary ripples on the surface of a vast, unmoved ocean within. From that depth, everything begins to make sense. You watch the waves without being tossed by them. You stop clinging to old narratives and start meeting life with presence and curiosity. You stop being dragged into every storm and instead become the still point around which the storm whirls. This is what it truly means to act as if nothing bothers you. Not to pretend or suppress, but to become so rooted in your true nature that nothing can shake your foundation. You no longer need to armor up or defend your peace, because your peace is no longer fragile. It's woven into the fabric of your being. And so, day by day, you embody that power. You respond with clarity instead of reacting from old wounds. You breathe deeply through life's messiness. You meet discomfort with openness instead of resistance. And in doing so, you live in a way that radiates a calm so steady. That's the ultimate gift, not just to yourself, but to the world. A steady, grounded presence in a world full of chaos is a rare and precious offering. And as you continue to walk this path, not only do you transform your life, but you help raise the collective energy of those around you. Let it become who you are. Let it be the lens through which you move, the frequency you emanate. Let each breath be a returning home to that quiet, powerful center, because that is where your greatest strength lives, not in controlling the outside, but in mastering the inside, not in changing others, but in remembering who you are beneath the noise. And from that remembrance, may your days unfold with effortless grace, may your presence bring peace, and may you always walk with the quiet confidence of one who knows that nothing, truly, has the power to disturb your inner sky. Our unshakable essence remains undisturbed and serene. This isn't avoidance or spiritual bypassing of genuine human emotion and experience. It's not about becoming desensitized or disengaged from the richness of life, quite the opposite, in fact. By no longer reflexively resisting or clinging to the ever-changing conditions around us, we allow ourselves to experience everything with a depth, vividness, and freshness that's simply not available when we're locked in habitual reactivity. Think of a time when you laughed until your sides hurt, or were flooded with soul-stirring gratitude, or gazed into the eyes of a newborn with awe so deep it brought tears. In those moments, were you obsessing over something someone said that upset you earlier? Were you still caught up in irritation over the driver who cut you off? Of course not. You were fully immersed in the beauty of that moment, untethered from your usual inner commentary and emotional clutter. That is the essence of acting as if nothing bothers you. Not a numbing or hardening, but an expansive opening, a radical availability to whatever is unfolding now, free of the drag of past narratives or conditioned responses. When we taste that spacious freedom of presence, something within us remembers. We recall the truth of who we are, infinitely aware, awake, and untouched by the stormy surface of experience. That serene center can never truly be shaken, no matter how intense the winds of change may howl. We feel a quiet recognition arise from within, whispering, "Yes, this is my true home." From this anchored awareness, our whole perception begins to transform. The situations, people, and patterns that once held so much power over us begin to dissolve into transparency. Their emotional charge softens, their stolidity fades. We are no longer enmeshed in the energetic tangle of old reactivity. Instead, we meet each moment from a new place of conscious flow, creative engagement, and inner freedom. As we continue embodying this grounded way of being, the subtle dimensions of emotion, energy, and physical experience begin to reorganize in harmony. Just as mind shapes matter, our unshakable state of consciousness starts effortlessly reshaping our internal and external realities. Life starts responding to our new inner tone. Experiences that once disturbed us don't even show up anymore because we're no longer resonating with the frequencies that invited them in. We've shifted our baseline energy to one of equanimity. Even the people who used to trigger or challenge us may still appear from time to time, but it's as if they're speaking a language we no longer understand. Their energy glances off us like harmless wind. No dent, no sting, no emotional residue. We don't need to fight, defend, avoid, or react. We simply remain present, centered, and clear. This is the subtle alchemy and grace that emerges when we stabilize in our deepest essence. We reclaim our ultimate power. The outer world may churn and shift, but it has no authority over the luminous peace at our core. And from that invincible serenity, we begin to embody the qualities of a true force of nature, no longer shaped by the tides of life, but shaping them through the field of calm coherence we radiate. This path doesn't require transcending or bypassing our human experience. It's a deep integration, a full embrace. We are beings of emotion, flesh, and vulnerability, and also infinite presence, timeless awareness, and unshakable light. To bring these truths together within ourselves is the highest synthesis and the essence of true mastery. So let us walk gently, humbly, and with sacred curiosity. Let us explore the stillness that is always here, even in the eye of the storm, because only by grounding ourselves in this timeless inner sanctuary can we awaken into our highest human potential. In doing so, we become the unshakable clarity and calm this world so desperately needs. When nothing truly bothers us, we become a beacon of peace, radiating a new frequency of being into the collective field. This is the great privilege of our inner journey. One of the foundational shifts we must make is a reorientation of identity. We move from locating ourselves in the limited sense of the personal me to realizing the vast spaciousness of the impersonal awareness that we truly are. As long as we remain identified with the egoic structure, with its preferences, defenses, and illusions of separation, we will continue to see life through the lens of resistance and reactivity. But when we begin to disidentify from the small self and attune to the infinite field of consciousness that underlies everything, the triggers and disturbances that once gripped us begin to dissolve. They lose their gravity, like ripples fading on the surface of a vast lake. This isn't about mentally forcing ourselves to be okay with life. It's a deeper shift, a surrendering into presence, where the mind wants to control, analyze, or push away what it doesn't like. Awareness simply witnesses. It allows everything to be as it is, in its own time, without needing to intervene or fix. There is a profound letting go, a letting go of striving, resisting, clinging, and rejecting. We begin to live more like the wind, flowing, open, untouched. This doesn't mean we no longer care. It means we care from a place of wisdom and clarity rather than entanglement. Of course, this journey isn't instant. The ego's patterns run deep. reinforced by years, even lifetimes, of misunderstanding our true nature. So this path demands patience, compassion, and unwavering devotion. One powerful practice is to pause throughout your day and rest in the awareness that is already here, before any thoughts arise, before emotions take form. Can you feel that clear, open space within which everything appears? That space is you, your true essence. It's untouched by what happens in the mind, body, or world. When you recognize this again and again, you build the muscle of presence, and slowly, the world loses its ability to rattle you. Thoughts and emotions still arise, but they pass through like birds in the sky, not sticky, not heavy. You watch them come and go without effort or strain, and in that space, a lightness returns, a playfulness. You remember that you're the sky, not the passing weather. And from that sky-like awareness, creativity flows, possibility opens. You become a vessel for higher harmonies, a channel for insight, beauty, and healing, no longer caught in the web of resistance and reaction. Your energy becomes available for what truly matters. This doesn't mean you won't feel things deeply, quite the opposite. When you're no longer afraid of pain or trying to suppress emotion, you can actually feel more fully. But now you hold that intensity in a wider space, a space that's unshaken, loving, and open. Every wave of experience becomes part of the great unfolding. Even your sorrow, your grief, your anger, they are no longer problems. They are energies moving through awareness, witnessed, honored, and finally released. You realize suffering wasn't in the emotion itself, but in your resistance to it. And so you start to live differently, with less effort, with more grace, with a kind of sacred maturity that doesn't need to control everything or everyone. You become a grounded presence, calm in the chaos, clear in confusion, loving in the midst of fear. This is the power of acting as if nothing bothers you, not as a performance, but as a natural extension of who you've remembered yourself to be. You're not faking calm, you are calm. You're not pretending to be at peace, you are peace itself. Keep turning toward this truth moment by moment. Let it guide your breath, your words, your gaze. Let it be the silent background to every action. Over time, you'll find that your whole life reorganizes around this core of stillness. Challenges still come, but they don't define you. Emotions still move through, but they don't shake you. And you respond, not react, with wisdom, discernment, and love. This is the true power of imperturbability. It's not about being robotic or emotionally dull. It's about embodying the deepest freedom possible, the freedom to meet life without fear, to allow everything its place, and to move with the intelligence of spirit. You are that presence. You've always been. And the more you rest in it, the more you'll know that nothing, no thought, no person, no circumstance can truly disturb the essence of who you are. So keep choosing this moment. Keep relaxing into the truth. Keep remembering, you are not the storm, you are the sky. You are not the story, you are the awareness beholding it all. And when you live from that knowing, a quiet revolution takes place within and all around you. The world may not change overnight, but your relationship with it will. And that is the beginning of a new world entirely, one founded not on reaction, fear, or division, but on clarity, presence, and peace. Let yourself be that presence now. Let it ripple out into every corner of your being. Let it touch others, not through effort, but through the silent radiance of your grounded, luminous heart. The way forward is clear, and the power to walk it has always been yours.